Now on Fox 13 News at 5:30, a stunning comparison. There are now more illicit massage businesses in Utah than there are McDonald's restaurants.
It was during my young adult years that I began to gain a deep testimony of God the Father and His beloved Son, Jesus Christ. I came to know for myself that Jesus Christ was born of the Virgin Mary, who was a precious and chosen vessel. They go to the temple along with our 11-year-old young women.
She would be a second wife. She asked this question: would she be able to have her own house? Would she have to live with her husband and his first wife? I just told her to trust the Lord.
Travis Wayne Goodsell, Mosiah 17, verse 7 to 18. And I believe it's King Noah, since it's singular, rather than the priest. Unto Abinadi, Abinadi, we have found an accusation against thee, and thou art worthy of death. For thou hast said that God himself should come down among the children of men, and now for this cause thou shalt be put to death, unless thou wilt recall all the words which thou hast spoken evil concerning me and this people. So, he's arguing a theological difference to justify shutting him up as an extortion, to not expose the crimes and sins of King Noah, his priests, and the people with the threat of death. Now Abinadi said unto him, I say unto you, I will not recall the words which I have spoken unto you concerning this people, for they are true. And that ye may know of their surety, I have suffered myself, that I have fallen into your hands. Yea, and I will suffer even until death, and I will not recall my words. That is honor and integrity, in case there are those of you who do not know what honor and integrity is. They shall stand as a testimony against you. And if you slay me, you will shed innocent blood, and this shall also stand as a testimony against you at the last day. And now King Noah was about to release him, for he feared his word. For he feared the judgments of God would come upon him. The idol-worshipping cycle of the Book of Mormon, wrongly called pride cycle. He hasn't repented and believed in the true Jesus. The true God. It's out of fear. Just like Alma chapter 3 and 4. But the priests lifted up their voices against him and began to accuse him further, saying, "He has reviled the king." Therefore the king was stirred up in anger against him, and he delivered him up that he might be slain. And it came to pass that they took him and bound him and scourged his skin with tiki torches, yea, even unto death. And now when the flames began to scorch him, he cried unto them, saying, Behold, even as ye have done unto me, so shall it come to pass, that thy seed shall cause that many shall suffer the pains that I do suffer, even the pains of death by fire. And this because they believe in the salvation of the Lord their God. And it will come to pass that ye shall be afflicted with all manner of diseases because of your iniquities. Yea, and ye shall be smitten on every hand, and shall be driven and scattered to and fro, even as a wild flock is driven by wild and ferocious beasts. And in that day ye shall be hunted, and ye shall be taken by the hand of your enemies, and then ye shall suffer as I suffer the pains of death by fire. Thus God executeth vengeance upon those that destroy his people. O God, receive my soul. I forgot to say in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. So, Nephi and Laban likewise have an incident like this. They go to try to buy the plates of brass after casting lots, and Laman was the one selected by the lots to go and talk with Laman, and Laman chased him out. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Let's go home. We failed. Nephi goes instead, all by himself. Well, they go to buy. That's the buy. Here's all of our gold and silver and our precious things that we left behind. We wish to purchase the brass plates. And Laban declares that they are stealing from him, and therefore they must die. So the guards chase him. There's a whole slit in Lemuel's bag, and their golden treasures start to fall out. The guards pick it up. It's all literal history, true here. That's another video, possibly today. How Mormons make stuff up beyond the made-up stuff by the church, following the example of the church. Got a comment yesterday. But anyway. And so Nephi goes back again after Laman beat on him with a baseball bat. A stick. Then the angel came, said, "Why are you smiting your brother?" Because I don't like him. Stop. No. And so Nephi goes in, finds Laban in a drunken stupor with his sword, passed out. And Nephi goes through this unnecessary debate in his head about, oh, I don't know, the law says we can't murder anybody. And then all of these justifications and excuses. No. Right here. He was falsely accused, and the punishment for the false accused was death. So Nephi, having his false accuser before him, slew him instead. And people panic and go, "Oh, this is horrible. You should never punish people. They should get away with their crimes. This man on death row who is about to be executed for his horrendous, horrible murders must not die. He's mentally retarded." "We'll take care of him." And he does. Dear God, our justice system is so screwed up. So, it comes from the law. But, Nephi hadn't gotten the plates of brass yet to know the law. So literal history, true. The law of the Jews, Deuteronomy 19:19. 16. Well, 2 or 3 witnesses is 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin, in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established. Witnesses implies that you have the evidence. It's just not just making an accusation. So, if a false witness arise against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother. The comment I got yesterday. Then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. For false accusers only. That is the judgment. That is how you judge righteously. Beam and motes. And so in the beam and mote, it's actually a far worse crime that's being committed. But the punishment is what would have been done to the falsely accused. And then thus, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot. And everybody misinterprets that in the context. The falsely accused demands a punishment for the false crime that he's falsely accusing of. So if you steal, chop off the hand. Thus, the falsely accused gets his hand chopped off. That's what it's talking about here. The Matthew version isn't saying, oh, let people get away with their crimes. Let them beat the hell out of you. And just say, I forgive you. No, He's talking about how to take them to court according to the Roman law. God, a bunch of Christian illiterates. So, this is the law of Purim. Lots. Not a coincidence that Nephi and his brothers cast lots. And a false accusation is made, and the punishment is incurred. The book of Esther. Esther in the Bronx. Yeah. She was in one of the ghettos. She invited us over for dinner. She was a good girl, which is quite amazing in the conditions she lived in. I hope she's still alive. She'd be about my age. Interesting. So she better be alive. It'd be sad. She truly was an innocent. And yet was able to handle the boys in the neighborhood. Nonetheless, Book of Esther is the same story. What's fascinating is that it's a Mesopotamian story. Esther is Ishtar, the goddess. Mordecai is Marduk, the god. You know, the Temple of Babel that you all get wrong in Ur of Babylon is Marduk's temple, Mordecai. The Tower of Babel was in Beirut, Lebanon. The Cedars of Lebanon. So talking about the other Egyptian story. And so the Jewish author, who wrote it as the Book of Esther, about Jews, who were actually the house of Israel, in Persia, after conquering Babylon, and Cyrus already sent the Jews back to Jerusalem, is about the same thing. The king of Persia has a number one guy, and the number one thought he would accuse all of the house of Israel Jews to death for being illegals, and built a weapon to murder them all. And so the god Marduk comes to the goddess Ishtar and says, "You're going to die too," and they tell the king, because he specifically chose you after losing his first wife when she refused to dance naked for his world guests at the ballroom after destroying the East Wing and rebuilding a ballroom, holding a feast. She refused to dance naked for them. Melania, if you're listening, do you care? No, you don't care. You just cared about Putin spreading all of your old porn video pictures around. They really aren't porn. I don't know, maybe there's stuff that's hidden. You know, from the Epstein files. But nonetheless. And so, yeah, the king found out and saved the people. And number one was killed on the weapon that he had built to murder the Jews. Purim. So the Jews celebrate Purim because of the book of Esther, because the Purim moon is in Virgo every spring. So the astronomy science is directly connected with Jewish feasts and festivals, where you're not supposed to be dancing naked and having orgy sex with the gold cow. Don't have a cow, man. So, Joseph Smith starts the church 6th of April, 1830. A date that will live in infamy. And it was all about the Book of Mormon. Missionaries who joined the church, the elders, were sent out on missions to talk about the Book of Mormon, to try to sell the Book of Mormon, and to see if they wanted to join the religion with the Book of Mormon. In 1832, April, Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball joined the church, and like all the others, are sent out on missions, supposed to have the Book of Mormon with them to bring in converts. And they brought in a bunch. Scottish rites, you dumbass, not York rites. Comment from yesterday. Doing some teasers for you. Dear God, what a mentally retarded Mormon. Just making stuff up from church history. Just unbelievable, the stupidity of Mormons from spiritual witness feelings. Dear God. They just all go contrary to living prophets of Jesus, because the whole geography of the Book of Mormon got into a fist fight in front of the public during a debate. The Benson had to step in and say, okay, hold on now. One Cumorah, not two. And the guy didn't believe Benson. And there are other Mormons who say, well, it sounds very logical. Yeah, two Cumorahs. Guy I worked with at the distribution center, 17th and 19th. I'm just looking at him and going, oh my God, if the living prophet of Jesus said it, then you can't go against it. Otherwise, you're going against him, and therefore you're an apostate. And yet, you've got these dumbass Mormons still to this day who think they know better than the living prophet of Jesus, who don't realize that they're going against the prophets by going beyond the core fake history, revisionist history of Mormonism. They're just branching out from it. And so eventually, if they get popular, the church president will step in and say, you're wrong. Right, Idaho? Was it Denver Snuffer? Or Chad Daybell? Monson had to step in and say, you're wrong, Chad. But I had a near-death experience. I saw Jesus. He told me to do things. Zombie apocalypse is here. I need to kill zombies. Oh, little kids. My kid. Chop up their body. Mormons don't see the danger of any of this until it's too late. You get no fap superheroes with swords threatening to murder people. And Mormons want to be normal, huh? Dear God, you were nowhere near normal. Nowhere near. I even saw a probably AI created, but it was correct. It was incomplete. There's a lot more reasons why we're not Christian, because that was the whole thing. Why don't people consider Mormons Christian? And so I've been telling you this, and it tells you this. Temples, theology, administration. Those aren't Christian. And this ties to these converts of Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball. They then went out on missions and had a whole bunch of conversions. But September comes along, 1832, Section 84 of the Doctrine and Covenants. President Ezra Taft Benson condemns those missionaries converted by Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball, for they were chewed out by Joseph Smith. This is where we get the condemnation of Mormons. Missionaries lying about the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith and the church. New converts are joining the wrong religion. These missionaries are making false accusations about Joseph Smith, the Book of Mormon, and the church. But they didn't listen. Section 86, they're still not listening in December. Joseph Smith now calls them apostates. Missionaries. They're not teaching the Book of Mormon. They're not teaching about the church. They're not teaching about Joseph Smith. So Joseph Smith continues to not be Christian and builds, or changes the name first, in 1834. Sidney Rigdon raised his hand. I propose a name change to the Church of the Latter-day Saints. Joseph Smith, all in favor, unanimous. It's now the Church of the Latter-day Saints. It's in the minutes of the Joseph Smith papers. Huh? The authorized original documents. That was another thing, that dumbass. Just the level of stupidity of Mormons from Spiritual Witness Feelings is just... It's beyond going into shock. Are Mormons so stupid? Is this really true? Did he say that? Does he believe that? He's kidding, right? He's just a white supremacist Christian nationalist, right? He doesn't actually believe that, right? Yep, they do. God. And so in 1836, the temple, Kirtland. And another vision by Joseph Smith. Vision, not literal history. Nonetheless, Joseph then calls for a gathering of the scattered Mormons to Kirtland, in similitude of the latter-day gathering by the same man like Moses, whom Joseph got the keys in his vision in the Kirtland Temple for. Oh. He preparing the way for the coming of the Christ. You know, Jewish. He's Messiah ben Joseph, preparing the way for Messiah ben David. You skipped those videos of mine, didn't you? And you have no clue from the Jews the tradition of Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David, do you? Remember, the missionaries are lying. Kirtland Vision, by the way, was on the third day of Jewish Passover. And so these converts who were lied to come to Kirtland, okay, and they're shocked. And their shock turns to anger. We were lied to. This isn't a Christian church. A Book of Mormon, a theology that is not Hamuzion, Jewish, not Christian, temples. The name doesn't even have Jesus, it's Latter-day Saints. They were furious and rose up in rebellion that even the church calls the Kirtland apostasy. And they tried to murder Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon. Had to chase them out. They eventually went to Missouri in the far west. But during this time, also the original converts of Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball were there in Kirtland and were taking out loans from the Kirtland Safety Society and not paying them back. And so thus the economic disaster on top of it caused these converts who were gathered to rise up. And there was a group of them who formed the Old Standard Church of Christ. Christian. No Book of Mormon. No temple. No prophet. Just like a Christian church. This group of missionaries then led the remaining Mormons who did not go to the Old Standard Church of Christ in an exodus from Kirtland to Missouri. And then they began phase 2 of their operation. The Mormon War. And this is intended to be a different video. So we'll just briefly go over it. And whether I get to it today or it's on the list. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the list. Forged documents ensued. And so, yeah, it'll be with a comment. And I'll go over this with you. They now called themselves the Danites. They wrote it in a journal the year before Brigham Young died. And I will quote from their very own journal, dumbass Mormon. To show you the false accusation of the law of Purim for you, because that's what this video is about. Thus far, according to the order of the Danites. So it's no longer the order of Ammon, but to avoid the too frequent repetition of the name Ammon, we call the priesthood of Melchizedek. Instead, it's the order of Dan, son of God. They are the Danites. We have a company of Danites in these times. They're claiming that they wrote this in 1838 with darker ink than the faded ink from the time. To put to rights physically that which is not right. Order of Nehor. And to cleanse Joseph Smith's church and Joseph, who got locked up in Liberty Jail for them, as he then would give us the Liberty Jail revelation or scripture sections, in which he calls them false brethren. The Danites are the false brethren, the apostate missionaries who were lying about Joseph's church, making converts believe we're Christian. Of very great evils which have hitherto existed among us, insomuch as they cannot be put to rights by teachings and persuasions. It says otherwise in the text, Elder. No, my spiritual witness feeling says, and you can't judge it. They came up to consecrate by companies of tens, commanded by their captain over 10. They're militant, physically putting to rights with threats of violence, accusing Mormons. This was after the Kirtland Exodus. And they're still cleansing Joseph Smith's church in phase 2 for the Mormon War that would come. They are confessing decades later to what they did in 1838. That's Thomas B. Marsh and his affidavit. They confirm him as true. So George Albert Smith about the wife and milk strippings was all a lie. Yet 2 prophets of the living Jesus got up and used that to threaten Mormons. So Joseph Smith history in 1838, written at the time they claimed that they were writing this in their journal. And they even say, yeah, Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon are working on the Joseph Smith history, confirming that Joseph Smith did not have the name in verse 1, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That was, as Joseph Smith wrote it, the Church of the Latter-day Saints. Published in the Times and Seasons in 1842 as the Church of the Latter-day Saints. But section 115 says that Joseph Smith forged document, you dumbasses. The Thomas B. Marsh video with the dumbass Mormon comment. I get revelation for the church. Follow me, and you will never go hungry again. Just unbelievable, the stupidity. By not studying scriptures anymore that they canceled with September 6th, You've got a bunch of dumbass Mormons going rogue. Good job, Oaks. This is to purge the church, by the way. Chad Daybell failed. Brian David Mitchell failed. Jody Hildebrandt failed. Ruby Frank failed. All of the psychologists in Utah failed. Governor Cox failed. Sister Homewrecker Mendenhall with the Homewrecker Law failed. And again, the police. Oh my hell, guys. You can't just get a token homeless person off the streets. Everybody. You missed one. Dear God. But I know they're listening. Word is getting back to them. They know of me, and they know of my channel. Word is getting back to them. So, this is the way it originally said from the Joseph Smith Papers original document that was published this way. Owing to the many reports which have been put in circulation. By who? Who tells people about the church? You as a missionary. People don't just get spiritual witness feelings. I think that there's a great and abominable church that's been formed. I need to go and find it so I can condemn it. No. Missionaries come and say, hey, there's a new church in town. And they get lied to. That report put into circulation by evil disposed and designing persons in relation to the rise and progress of the Church of the Latter-day Saints. So yes, these missionaries, Danites, are the ones who changed the name of Joseph Smith. It's all throughout the Joseph Smith Papers, exposing them. And exposes the truth that Joseph Smith never changed the name. I don't understand why they published it. If you wanted Mormons to never find out, you need to shut your mouth and burn the documents. And yet, too late. Too late. We got your ledger even. Oh my hell, Nelson. The thing that got Al Capone thrown in prison, and you post it freely for everybody to see, and now Islamic terrorism also posted on their website that you're their major funder for Islamic terrorism? Talk about your mentally retarded evil people. Tardive dyskinesia of Oaks. Mentally retarded. Aren't you dead yet? The time is now. This is what we're talking about here. All of which have been designed by the authors thereof to militate the Danites. You got to connect the documents together, guys, against its character as a church and as progress in the world. So what does Joseph Smith talk about? Christianity. What does he say about Christianity? All wrong, all abominable, and all corrupt. And the Methodist preacher confirms the Isaiah passage, drawing near to me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me, denying the powers of the Spirit, seer, prophet, revelator, translator, Spirit, acronym, and then goes into the dumbass, stupid, because this was what his comment was referring to. These Danites posing as Christians, which obviously are not Christians, to further purge the church for the latter days. Joseph Smith's vision talks about additional wording from Malachi. That additional wording is, "For they that come shall burn them." Abinadi? See, this is how my associative memory works. Their intention is to falsely accuse the world, not just members of the church. This is Brigham's church, in case you hadn't caught on. And they that come. And in order to understand English, you need to be educated on English grammar, sentence structure, vocabulary, and comprehension. And yet, Spiritual Witness Feelings denies the science of linguistics. He said that they is Heavenly Father and Jesus who are coming to burn us. Yeah, that's what the Danites said. As code for them. I've been doing these videos. You're not listening. What is the whole point of this? Oh, Jesus is going to come and murder everybody, so yeah, we just need to have people join the church and pay the money. Then we're true. Forged document of the Danites. But saith the Lord of hosts. He's not saying he's coming. You just got through reading about how Christians are the evil enemy of mankind. Christians, who are the evil disposed and designing militant persons against Joseph Smith, the missionaries, the Danites. They. God, am I the only one who knows English? Mormons have created spiritual English. Oh my hell! And with texting emojis, we're doing away with English altogether. It's going to be obsolete soon. Oh my God. But there's an extermination event. See, we get taught with extra Joseph Smith information about the flood. So the world believes that God is evil and murders people. So They wrongfully then concluded that the Old Testament God is cruel and mean, and Jesus is the new hotness. He's nice and kind, lets us get away with sin and crime. And then he exterminated the Jews. And is coming back in the latter days to murder everybody. Yeah, Jesus is the good guy. It's just unbelievable, the level of stupidity. And so, yes, Joseph Smith is trying to warn with the Book of Mormon, hello, about the coming destruction to save lives. I just, oh my God. So, yep, OAKS got leaked. Wait a minute, you're supposed to be here. There you are. And so I won't cover it again. I referred to it. But Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. in The Way to Perfection, Adam on Diamond, page 291. He turned the Danites into a code for religion. That the President of the United States is now Lucifer, and the President of the Church is Jesus, because of what the Danites told Thomas B. Marsh. And so clearly, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., being the son of Hiram, was not privy to the decoding, as they still had the decoded Doctrine and Covenants back then. And so, using these in context with OAKS's leak in 2020, after the video I did yesterday about polygamy not being obeyed by Mormons in 2019, that they're preparing for the millennium, thus the second coming of Jesus, the burning, that they that come shall burn them. They're funding Islamic terrorism. They're funding other terrorists. They're orchestrating all of this. They are behind all of it. And so OAKS confesses, we're going to be running a test in 2020 for Armageddon, the burning, second coming, flaming Jesus. Tiki torch Jesus. You all know it's not Tiki torch in the Book of Mormon, right? There's a reason why Mark Augustine put on Kelvin's investigator record, flaming. Come on, Mark. You don't do that. Because if criminals break into our apartment, which the kids upstairs always broke into our apartment, they obtain our investigator records so that they can find out other people to steal from, and then the cops bust them, and then the documents get exposed, and the cops see that Mark Augustine put flaming on Kelvin. Just, you don't think. Consequences, you dumbass. Like what you did to me in 2008, you dumbass. They're will be consequences. No Zion for you. Come back next millennium. Or next resurrection. Oaks is confessing they're the enemy. That they are in charge of burning everybody. Everything that happened in 2020 and 2021 was because of Oaks. He confessed. And so sure enough, with the second coming of Trump, 2024, 2025, now 2026, because Trump failed in 2025, they're repeating the same exact stuff from 2020 and 2021. This is why. Because 2020 and 2021 was the test run. And here we go. So when Oaks gives you the death threats, the 5 death threats in the beginning of 2025, and then after Holland's funeral, they changed the homepage to show Jesus is going to murder you so you can live with God. He's falsely accusing you and giving you the sentence of death. Do you not see this? The law of Purim was instantly activated upon the assassination of Joseph Smith, upon all the presidents of Brigham Young. He is the one that ordered it. And John Taylor confesses, dear God, you dumbass. If you want to keep something a secret, shut the hell up. Oaks didn't learn this. John Taylor and Willard Richards, section 135 by John Taylor. Verse 2. In case you want to fact check me. 2 of the 12 who were not arrested, what were you doing there? Why was nobody else there? John Solomon Fulmer was there. He gave Joseph his single shot, which Joseph gave to Hiram when Brother Wheelock, friend of John's, gave Joseph his 6-shooter. Then Willard Richards claims that he then went out to go get sacrament wine and bread. And yeah, I do it every single year for the anniversary. Falsely accused were the only persons in the room at the time of the shooting. What is funny is that he says he was wounded with 4 balls in a savage manner. Which one of them was in the pocket watch. And so it was only 3. The 4th was in the pocket watch. And so what happened, even Oaks leaks this, mentally retarded. You really should just quit. Hand it over to me, I'll fix things for you. You won't do it, will you? Irene, are you ready? You ready, Irene? In a coming day. Or days. Or in a coming hour. Last I checked this morning when I woke up, didn't happen. But, yeah. The 6-shooter Joseph went and confronted them at the top of the stairs when they came in. They didn't have their rifles with them. The witness testified in court that he saw the mob gather at Carthage jail, black-faced, and they were ordered to set down their rifles, which humongously long. They would not fit. And so they left them outside. So they went up the narrow stairs to the upper room where they were in the jail. And Joseph was there at the top waiting for them. Boom, boom, boom. 3 of the 6 balls fired. They then rushed back out and tended to the injuries. Because if you don't, it could get infected. And back in those days, an infected leg or body part or whatever will result in death, or amputation would be required if it was a limb. And so you need to immediately treat wounds back in those days. And so they weren't going up the stairs. John Taylor confirms, we were the only 2 in the room when Joseph and Hiram were shot. And so Hiram had my 3rd great-grandfather's single shot. John Taylor tried to wrestle it from him. It went off into Hiram's jaw, into the brain. Hiram fell, head pointing to the door. Joseph, having chased out the guys, heard the shot from the room, turned, saw his brother on the floor with John Taylor standing over him, and then boom, 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 the remaining 3 balls. John Taylor then scrambled under the bed, and Joseph went weeping over his brother's body at the head with his back to the door and his back to Willard Richards, who was hiding like a coward in the corner. And then he comes out of the corner, shoots Joseph Smith in the back with his 6-shooter that he got with the sacrament. Took his body over to the window, dumped it out the window, and that's when the mob then loaded the rifle, fired, loaded the rifle, fired, loaded the rifle, fired repeatedly. Some, who knows how many dozens of men. I don't know the number, I don't see it before me. I think it was well over 100. He says 150 to 200 persons. And so you've got all those men with their rifles repeatedly shooting Joseph there at the well. And so Willard Richards then comes back over to Hiram's body lying on the floor, the blood stain that Kimball didn't fully cleanse when he removed the plaque, tried to cover up the crime scene. Yeah, they used to say that it was Joseph's blood, and instead of changing it to Hiram's blood, they decided to just remove it and try to clean it up as best they could, but the blood stained the wood. So it's still there and it's still noticeable. And he came over to cause that blood stain on the floor, standing over Hiram's body, and shoots him right here. Blows out through the back of the head that's lying on the ground, causing the blood stain. And as John Taylor tells us, to make it look good and to have an uneven count of Joseph Smith's pistol, Willard Richards shoots John Taylor in the pocket watch to claim it's 4 balls. So he didn't say, hold still, let me make this look good. No, don't shoot me. I'm already shot. I need medical attention. Hold still. We've got to cover this up and hide it. Take one for the team. Yeah, these guys were sent by Brigham Young as a backup to make sure it got done. And they were needed to be backups. So they did. So this was the false accusation with the punishment of death. So, obviously, they weren't murdered like Joseph was. They weren't shot like Joseph was. So what was the thing that Joseph Smith died under? Joseph Smith is the seer, the prophet, the revelator, the translator with the keys of Moses. Spirit. And as such, they lied about his church. So that is to witness to all Mormons that the presidents of Brigham Young's abomination are false, that deny the Spirit. And so all of them died under a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. That is to tell Mormons that this church is false and the enemy of mankind. And apparently I'm the only one who knew, and I'm telling you. I had to spend an hour and a half this morning redoing this pretty picture for you. Upgrading it even. So there's some blank spaces for you, Oaks. Are you going to fill them anytime soon? Just asking. So I don't know if there's too much red at the top for you to catch it. Maybe I can change the key to a different color. But this is the curse of Joseph Smith. I've been talking about it, showing you the other pictures that are old and busted now. This is the new hotness. I hope I can get it on there without it being ruined, but we'll see. Because if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to make some... Just make it work. And so I put in what I've already talked with you about, Jewish law of Purim for false accusers, Deuteronomy 19, 16 through 19, see Book of Esther. And I could also put in Nephi and Laban. There's a whole bunch of other stories about this, of false accusers. So I also put in official declaration number 1, verse 11. Because that's Wilford Woodruff. Lying about polygamy having ceased. Official declarations. So, October 11th, or let's see, semi-annual general conference on Monday, October 6th, 1890. Reported in the Deseret Evening News, October 11th, 1890, page 2. Wilford Woodruff said, "You all have it, it's canonized. You can't deny this. As much as your illiteracy and spiritual witness feelings is altering English. The Lord will never permit me or any other man who stands as president of this church to lead you astray." as I'm leading you astray, calling myself the president and still continuing the practice of polygamy and tithing, for which we got shut down for in 1887. As we're having to rent. Well, it doesn't say that it was in the tabernacle. It just says the 61st Semi-Annual General Conference of the Church in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is not in the program. It is not the mind of God. If I were to attempt that, the Lord would remove me out of my place. Bye bye. He got a double whammy. No big money. And so he will any other man who attempts to lead the children of men astray from the oracles of God and from their duty. And Mormons, not believing Joseph Smith and the Spirit, do not see that God is removing these fakes to let you know that they're not true. This does not happen with any other religion, any other government, any other organization whatsoever. This test only works with the curse of Joseph Smith for solar and lunar eclipses. And as I've told you, if there's something that seems to fail the test, which I give 1 month before and after, the solar and lunar eclipse, before and after, 1 month, whichever comes first, whether it's solar or lunar, 1 month, there must be an explanation satisfactory to explain the anomaly. Otherwise, I have to say, sorry, this didn't work. But it did work. So Joseph Smith Jr., 27th of June, 1844, with 14 years. And that has exclusive information for me concerning the number 77 with the transfer of authority. These guys are false. The church of Joseph Smith needs to be resurrected, restored. The temple must be set back in order. The man like Moses, the one mighty and strong, the man-child, Emmanuel, Messiah ben David Moses, etc., etc., etc. Samson. So, there was a solar eclipse on the 16th of June, 1844. Lunar eclipse on the 31st of May, 1844. And so, the one solar eclipse in June is within the month time, even the lunar eclipse. Both fit within the month period. So Brigham Young started 7th of February 1851, thanks to Stanford. So that's how I was able to upgrade it. Showed me the documents in the government that Brigham Young started and organized the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on the 7th of February 1851 in the state of Deseret as governor of the territory of Utah. He's still forming a coup! Nonetheless, he dies on the 29th of August, 1877, a year after he had published his final Doctrine and Covenants, with most of the forged documents. And the journal entry of the Danites that I read to you. And so he had a double solar. There's one on the 9th of August, 1877. There's one on the 7th of September, 1877, before and after his death. The sun is for government. The moon is for religion. These are the presidents of the religion, the government of the religion. And so, as the first, he gets a double whammy for the solar eclipse. And then the lunar eclipse, 23rd of August, 1877. Making it known to Mormons, he's false. God is pissed. God took him out for leading Mormons astray. John Taylor, the year before Brigham Young died, he changed the rank order of the 12 because he was pissed with Orson Hyde for not believing in Adam as Heavenly Father. Doesn't want him to take over as president and then reverse everything. And so he gets the loyalist to be in the pole position because Brigham used as his reasoning that Orson was the one who co-signed the affidavit to the Governor William Boggs for the Extermination Order of Mormons, which was caused by the Danites, the Mormon War, 1838. And so he says, when you were put in by Joseph Smith again, that is your new rank order. And thus John Taylor succeeded instead. On the 10th of October, 1880. Died on the 25th of July, 1887. 19 July, 1887. 19th of August, 1887. Did I say that right? 19th of August. So within a month. But also the lunar, 3rd of August, 1887. The one who shot and murdered Hiram fit the pattern. Wilford Woodruff. And so if you're wondering about Willard Richards, who never became president, how did he die? 77. He doesn't fit the pattern because he didn't become president. But there was a 77 involved with his death. And in case, because I forgot, 1844 to 2024 is 180 years. 2024 was the final day of darkness over the United States of America. And therefore, 180 years, that's Jewish Kabbalah from the Tree of Life. 180. Joseph's death being planted in the ground, the last day of the latter years for the fruit, and Mormons are coming up with all kinds of weird stuff from their spirit. So, anyway, Wilford Woodruff. 7th of April, 1889. He dies 2nd of September, 1898. He's the one who did official declaration number 11, or official declaration number 1, verse 11, and so he gets a double whammy. 18 July, 1898, and 13 December, 1898. 3rd of July, 1898, 27th of December, 1898. This is an exception to the rule. It's a double whammy. 2 months before, 2 months after. It's actually 3 after. But that counts because of the double whammy. So even though it's stretching, the July one is more combined with the 2 months exception. But Lorenzo Snow put in 13 September 1898. And because probably Hanukkah, I didn't check for Hanukkah for those. So I put some others, Jewish Purim for George Albert Smith, and then Howard W. Hunter had Passover. And then OAKS, last day of Tabernacles. Lorenzo Snow died 10th of October 1901. 11th November 1901. The lunar 27th of October 1901. Joseph F. Smith Sr. 17th of October 1901. Dies 19 November 1918. Creeping death. The pandemic of 1918. 3rd December 1918. Solar. 17 December 1918. Lunar. Heber J. Grant. 23rd November 1918. Died 14 May 1945. 9 July 1945 for the solar. But the June one for the lunar, 25th of June 1945, gets to be the excuse. George Albert Smith put in 21st of May 1945. Dies 4th of April, 1951. 7th of March. That's an interesting connection with David O. McKay's solar eclipse. But George Albert Smith's was 1951. Lunar was a Jewish Purim, 23rd of March, 1951. So his is interesting because his nuclear terrorist attack of burning didn't happen. Said it was supposed to be on a holiday after the election. I mean, granted, it still could be after the midterms if Trump's going to continue to fail, if he continues to live. But if Trump dies, everything is ruined. J.D. Vance doesn't have the spine to do anything, and he will get crushed. Trump must be the one to do it. They purposely put him in to do it. And so despite him having strokes and failing, he needs to hurry up. They're already pissed with him for his failure in 2025. And he's been threatened. That's why he's escalating here in 2026. But again, if he keeps failing, JD is not the guy. He was purposely put in as the loser, like Pence was. Pence isn't gonna, dear God. So yes, chaos ensued. David O. McKay, 9th of April, 1951. Died 18th of January, 1970. Here's where we get an exception to the rule. Because 21st of February for the lunar eclipse in 1970 is 3 days after. But it's because of 7th of March 1970's total solar eclipse up the coastline of the United States of America, the eastern coast, which comes from Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. We have seen Emmanuel's sign, star, in the east. The sun as a solar eclipse, casting its shadow upon the earth. Emmanuel, the sun god, at noonday. And so Joseph Fielding Smith Jr. now takes over. The son of Hiram, the descendant of Hiram, grandson, taking over on the 23rd of January 1970. He is the false prophet, which is sad. And so his death on July 2nd, 1972, is followed by 10th of July 1972 for the solar, 26th of July 1972 for the lunar. Harold B. Lee, 7th of July 1972. 26th of December 1973 is when he died, day after Christmas. The day before Christmas was the solar eclipse, and 10th of December was the lunar, 73. Spencer W. Kimball, 30th of December 1973. Died 5th November 1985. 12th November 1985 was the solar, 28th of October 1985 was the lunar. Ezra Taft Benson. 10th November 1985, 30th of May 1994 he died. 9 months. Or 9 years, sorry. 10th of May 94 was the solar, 25th of May, right before he died, was the lunar. Howard W. Hunter was 9 months. Benson was 9 years. Hunter was 9 months. Is Hinckley going to be 9 days? Nope. But he had another flip, sign in the heavens, separate from this, with Faust's death. Faust's death had the positions reversed with Hinckley's. That was wild. And so he was put in 12th of March, 1995. Died 27th of January, 2008, with the solar eclipse on the 7th of February. And then the 21st of February was the lunar. Thomas Spencer Monson. 3rd of February, 2008. Died. I warned you, you didn't listen. This was huge. Just having what I have here isn't fully illustrated. You have to see the picture that I made. And so he gets the starting solar eclipse and lunar eclipse of the latter days. But his death was Revelation chapter 12, verse 4 at 10:01 p.m. The exact same time as Nelson. His birthday was the 21st of August 2017's total solar eclipse over the whole United States of America. Monson was punished extra for his denial and leading Mormons astray that the deaths of Perry, Packer, and Scott under the incomplete tetrad, there's more to that story, where Chad Daybell says Jesus is coming, and Monson got up and said, no, he's not. These are nothing to do with the latter days. Move along, keep paying your tithing. Bye-bye. You led Mormons astray and caused Chad Daybell. Instead, you could have corrected him and say, yes, Chad is correct, but Chad is not the head of the church. I am. And so we're going to now implement a preparation for the latter days for all Mormons. We're going to get you guys prepared so that you guys don't get destroyed. Oh, whoops. That didn't happen either. So you guys who don't listen to me are the ones who are going to, I warned you. And so this was the first day of darkness, the start of the latter days. But his actual one was the 15th of February 2018. And then the lunar was the 7th of August 2017 with the first day of darkness. But his actual one was also huge. Blood Blue Wolf, total super, I think, no, it wasn't super. His death was under the supermoon. Yeah, because, yeah, I put it in. The blue super total lunar eclipse. Or, it's not a, yeah, that was, I guess it was still a super. Huh, okay. Because I had super total originally. So yeah, it still must have been a supermoon. Even though it was 30 days away. But yeah, his death on the 2nd, it was a supermoon that carried over into the next day. So yeah, Blood Blue Wolf, super total lunar eclipse. Just intense. And so Nelson takes over 14th of January 2018. His name is Mars. I refer you to Isaiah 14 and 2 Nephi 24 as I do with OAKS. Because in the Roman theology pantheon, Mars, the god Mars, has sex with his sister Venus, and they produce Lucifer. Venus is symbolized with the inverted pentagram of a falling star. And yes, that's why the great and abominable church's symbol is the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. It's founded by Lucifer, therefore his symbol, the falling star of his mom, the church. And so the bridegroom is the president of the church of Lucifer. So Russell Marion, baby name meaning Mars, is fascinating when you understand that Russell only became the president because he saved Kimball's life. as a heart surgeon. There was no way for him to know that Marion was going to be the latter-day prophet. There's just no way to know this. You can guess, because Bednar, for example, was put in far younger than normal for him to extend longer. And clearly they want him to be the potential millennial prophet, but he's still down on the list. And so, yeah, you can't plan this unless you execute people. Benson, however, redid the replacement of the Relief Society presidents so that it would be timed with OAKS becoming the number 6 + 6 + 6 president, to have the 18th Relief Society president, the 6 + 6 + 6 Relief Society president. That you can plan, but who you can't. And so, yes, in the Roman pantheon, the successor is the firstborn birthright son. And so when Mars dies and Lucifer then takes over the throne, that's why. But in this particular case, succession in the church is not from father to son or son to father. Instead, it's the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, because Brigham Young changed it. And so in this particular case, the successor is not the firstborn birthright blessing son, but the number 18 for 6 + 6 + 6, the number of the beast, Lucifer. The Church of Venus, with the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the doors of the temple, headquarters temple. Marion being Mars as the president of the Church of Venus. Yeah, I mean, this is wild. For them to not catch this, despite all my videos exposing it, to not go, oh crap, we are the enemy. How did he know? Curse of Joseph Smith, you dumbasses. And so, yes, that's why the whole latter days I've been doing all these videos, to warn you. Because this is it. The count goes on. And so the 27th of September 2025 at 10:01 p.m. That was redded because it's not in accordance with any Jewish holy day. It was me who called out the day and the hour by my gifts of the Spirit. Seer, prophet, revelator, and translator. I have proven myself. I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to prove myself to Oren, dumbass. I don't have to prove myself to any of you who are haters, who refuse to believe when this is clearly obvious. And yet, church refuses to hand it over to me so I can get you guys to Zion. So OAKS is next. He was warned, forewarned. So he died 27th of September. The solar eclipse was the 21st of September 2025. I could put in the solar and lunar eclipses and just wait for the death day. And so the 7th of September was when the lunar eclipse occurred. I did all the videos for you. The Dream of Bread involved the lunar. You gotta be careful messing with the seer. He's gonna get you. So, Oakes, by hesitating to become the president, thus, again, I was right. I called it. He thought he was avoiding it. Oh, you can't avoid a seer. You can't outsmart us. We have the spirit. And so that was the last day of the Jewish tabernacles, when Mars was at the top of the scales of Libra. Yep. So now, being the 18th of January, I warned you in advance. All excited that this is the first day now for the Curse of Joseph Smith time frame, 1 month before the solar eclipse in February 17th. And then March 3rd is the lunar eclipse on Purim. I know it's coming. And so 1 month after is Passover. Actually, wait a minute. Oh, we need the... Yeah. No. Yeah, 3rd. It's the 3rd day of Passover, so the Joseph Smith papers. And so the 16th in Nisan, the new year, or the 13th month for the civil calendar, or the, no, not the 7th, it's the 8th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7th month. Yeah, 7th month, 16th day for 88 when the eclipse occurs. And so they have Passover starting on the 15th as a result of that, because it's in Jerusalem, so it's actually before our 16th. It's 9 hours earlier, I think, in Jerusalem time for the lunar eclipse. For Purim, Book of Esther. For false accusers, DALLIN Oaks is Lucifer. This is the fall of the church. This is it. There will be no more. Now, Oakes dies and Irene takes over, and then we go into the election. Yeah, proven wrong. Church therefore is true. I would not bet against this, because all of the prophecies say this is it. The fall of the great and abominable church of Lucifer. Lucifer, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, dead. This is the time. And so with Passover being the 3rd day of Passover, there's an extension allowed so that the 21st is the last day of Passover. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 19th plus 2 is the 21st of the 2nd month, which is 21. So it's Friday. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 15th of May. 1, 2, 3, 4. 8th of May. That's the time frame. Today to the 8th of May. For the exception, if it needs to be. If it shouldn't, because Jupiter, who is the Christ, Revelation chapter 12, is going to stop retrograding in Gemini and begin to move east. And so that would indicate the gathering of Israel, the gathering of Mormons from all over the world, getting them to Zion. But it hasn't happened yet, has it? I've had to wait the whole time. How long have you had to wait? And so, yes, we're looking at the fall of the church and the death of OAKS to finish it off. Of course, it does say that he gets locked up in jail for his crimes, but he's old. So is Trump. He too is part of this, but that's the government portion of it. He plays a role too. So, but I've focused mostly on Mormons. I think more than them. Alrighty, that's it. Curse of Joseph Smith for falsely accusing, for lying and deceiving us, stealing our money, hurting us, destroying us, planning to murder us. So thus the fall of their church. They caused the fall of Joseph's church. Their church gets fallen. And it transfers back to the one who restores Joseph Smith's church. It's been a very long Latter days. And I say these things